Hey everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative. And I had mentioned that I had a really big silicone pour that I want to do. And you're seeing this box from high up because it is such a big box and because the piece I'm doing is fairly big. The parts of this box, the pieces that I have, I did not want to cut them down. I could have cut them down, and I have some other product around here that I can build a box with that I could have cut down. I wanted to use these. No reason in particular, but I just wanted to use them. Now, I had mentioned in my video that I did with the last silicone that I wasn't going to show you putting this box together. It probably took me, I'm going to say, a good hour to put this together. So I've made it into the size I want. So this width and this length, whichever way you want to do it. I used a hot glue gun and I used hockey tape. The reason I used the hockey tape in the seam area here, and I'm hoping, here, let's just lift it up. I used hockey tape. So I glued it first and then I put hockey tape over top of it. Hockey tape is extremely strong and seals up really well. And that is why I used it. So that's sort of the outside, and here's the space on the inside for my piece. Now, I don't normally do this. However, because this is such a big piece and I want to make sure, I feel confident that I've got it all sealed up. Having said that, I am using this 12 by 12 cardstock holder case to hold this piece in the unlikely event that I have spillage. We are going to be using the Alumilite Amazing Mold Maker to set the piece initially. The rest of it is going to be Let's Resin because I have all kinds of that. I've had it for a little bit. So we're going to use that. And we know that the Let's Resin won't set as quickly as what the Alumilite will. But we are going to use the Alumilite because this piece that I am going to be casting, and you can see it in there, is very light. I want to know this is sitting down there. I don't want this thing floating for love nor money. I want to make sure it is set in well. I have given this just enough space around it to, I had mentioned I don't want this really big. I'll be cleaning it off again. I've cleaned it once, but I'm going to clean it again. You're not going to be able to see this, unfortunately, because of the fact that we're dealing with such a big piece. I don't know how to get my camera to work, and I don't have an overhead camera, so unfortunately, you're not going to see. But we are going to start with the Alumilite first because it sets quick, and I just want to get this piece set in place so that I know it's not going to float, because with the amount of silicone I'm going to have to use, there would be that potential. And short of me, holding my hand in the box, which I could do, not to get me wrong, I could do. And yes, I could glue this down, but it's such an odd shape that I'm sort of going, where would I glue it? And I don't want any of that glue getting on to the skull head at all. So it'll be easier for me if I can just put some of the Alumilite in this. Let's get it set down in there and then fill it up with the Let's Resin. I hopefully have enough of the Alumilite to get that base started. The interior of this box is a fair size, but I'm hoping what I've got is enough. If not, then I'm going to go to Michael's and I'm going to get some more of it because I do not, and I can't stress this enough, do not want this silly thing floating up. That'll just be, a small pumpkin's one thing, a skull this size, totally a different story. The other thing I am going to give you is a tip. If you are ever, and I mean ever, going to be casting anything and you're not, it's wood specifically, so let's start with wood. If you're going to be doing a mold of a silicone mold of a wood piece, you are going to want to seal that before you pour your silicone on it. How do I know? Because I did a wood tree about a year, 2 years ago, doesn't matter. and I didn't seal it. Oh my, wow, it took me a very long time because the silicone seeped into the wood. So of course the silicone attached itself like crazy to it. It was insane the amount of time it took me. And thankfully the mold held with all the yanking I was doing on it, and I wasn't wasting it. Oh, I was not wasting it. So if it's wood and it isn't sealed, you seal it, because if you don't, you're going to regret it. The second thing is this piece, because I wasn't 100% sure what it was made of, I'm pretty sure it's a plastic. But I took a little bit of the Alumilite and I mixed it up, and I actually poured it on a section of the skull because I wanted to make sure. I thought, do I need to seal this or not? I don't have to seal it. I'm pretty sure it's plastic, and the piece, the little sample I did with it, it just peeled right off. So I'm going with the fact this is plastic, and it's too light. If this was wood, it would have a lot more weight behind it. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to work on getting the base of the Alumilite done and poured in here. What I might do is I may show you, and if not, what we'll do is once we're done, you will get to see me taking this out, and we'll get to see the box. Are you going to get to see me pull the skull out? Well, I'm not 100% sure on that because it just could be interesting, but we'll see how it goes, and I'll show you as much as I can. And any tips and tricks I might have from taking it out. It may be a good idea to spray this with mold release because it is an interesting piece, and I do have some. So maybe I'll give that a go because I haven't done it before. Anyway, I'll bring you back as soon as I can to see how it's going. A little bit of a quick update with my skeleton head silicone mold. So I'm going to have to move my camera so you can get at least a decent view of. So hopefully it's not too jiggly and whatnot. And I gotta see where you're in camera, which is going to be a challenge for me. There you go. So, can you see this? Well, we're pretty much there, but we're not all the way there. I have had to order some more silicone because, well, I ran out. You can tell this is going to be a pretty big piece, and because of that, I have also ordered myself some deep pour resin because, again, this is going to be a really big piece, and I don't want to run into an issue with flash curing using a regular 2-part epoxy resin. So I have ordered some deep pour, which I believe I'm getting the same day as I'm getting my silicone. So this project, as much as I wanted it to happen sooner than later, is happening later. But I did want to give you an update on where this is at. And it's going to be one of those work in progress. So once I have the rest of my silicone and we have completely covered this guy and he's ready to take out of the mold, we will take him out of the mold together. I'm probably going to take the box apart without you having to see that because it's going to not be labor intensive, but intensive enough that you don't need to see it. And then I will work on showing you how I'm going to get my skull head out of the mold, and then the next video I do after that will be of doing a pour using my deep pour resin and getting it done. Anyway, just wanted to give you an update, and we will get back to this once I have more silicone. See you then. Hey everyone, well, my silicone finally came in. That I have now finished covering up the skull head. You can see into the top. There's about 1/4 inch above the top of the skull head, and then obviously it goes from there. I probably put in about 800 to 850 mils more to cover it up. So this piece has taken quite a bit of silicone. I have had a couple of leaks on the sides of this, but nothing very major. I wish I had done a little bit more gluing and a better taping job, especially on the outside. But again, I've lost minimal amount of silicone in this, so that's brilliant. This is going to have to sit now until tomorrow, the next day, and then we will work on taking it. I'm going to take it out of the box so you don't have to watch that. And then we will work on cleaning up the bottom of the silicone mold because I know it's not a flat surface, so we're going to have to do some cutting out, and we'll do that together. Anyway, just wanted to share where we're at with this, and I am excited to demold this piece, and I have my deep pour resin, so I'm going to be able to make, I'm going to make one. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do it yet, but I am looking forward to doing more work with this. Anyways, stay tuned. We are well on our way now. As you can see, I have got the mold out of the unit I had it in. I want to make a really important note here. Some of the sides on my piece are still damp. Now, there could be a couple of reasons for that. I don't have an issue thinking that the silicone itself, that there was an issue with it. I'm not even going there. I did, however, wonder, the pieces of plastic that I had used, they had pictures on one side of them. And I spray painted those pictures. I waited until the paint was completely dry before I made my box and poured my silicone. I'm wondering, however, if there might have been some sort of reaction between the silicone and the paint that I sprayed on these pieces. If I were to give one tip right now so you don't run into this, I've had this issue before. The last time I had it, I can't remember if it was because I had same company silicones but two different types of silicone, and therefore if they just didn't play well together. The red that I used on the bottom of this is fine, but as I say, it's just there's a couple of sides, and I don't want to touch them, but this is one of them, and it's sticky, and I'm going to have to figure out, and I want to let it dry in the air to see if that will help set it. If it doesn't, then what I'm going to have to do is wrap something around it because I can't have it sticky. I'll let you know, I hate having sticky hands. hate. So I'm going to have to do something about that, but I do want to get the skull out of this piece, so for temporarily I'm going to wrap some saran wrap around this just so that I can get the skull out, and then I'll take the saran wrap off, and I will let it sit and see if it doesn't dry up. Again, if it doesn't, I'm going to have to wrap it up permanently. Anyway, the only reason I have it this way for right now is I am trimming down the edges. Because as much as I know it's flat, I don't know if you've worked with silicone before, but it does sometimes rise a little bit higher than, because it's going up the sides of the container. So all I've been doing, I've done one side so far, is I'm just using cuticle remover. Someone pointed that out to me. Thank you for helping me with my words. And I'm just going around. And I just thought I'd show you one side so you could see. I'm going very, well, once I get it going, just give me a second to get around the corner. I'm just going very slowly, and I'm not going deep. I just want to get that lip off of it, and hopefully you can see, well, I know, hard to see, right? I just wanted to let you know what I was doing, because I thought, well, I don't have to show them this, but just as a, helpful little tip. But I definitely wanted to sort of get it more level. It won't be perfect, but the balance of this, in my mind, will sit flat enough that I won't have to worry. So we'll do the other side. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to wrap this up. I am going to move to my other table to work on taking this out so that you can see. And yeah, it's a massive piece, not gonna lie. Is it heavy? Yeah, it is. Do I know how many mils overall I used on this? Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Maybe I should have kept track of it, but it was a lot. There was a lot of silicone that went into this piece. I guess basically yuckies. I don't like things sticking to me. Let me get a piece of when I eat food, and when I'm done, if I've been using my hands, I have got to wash my hands. I just can't deal with sticky. So I'll be cleaning my hands up after this, because with the silicone being sticky, yeah, it's driving me a little nuts, but that's okay. one of my things in life, I don't like sticky stuff. I really don't. Sticky hands drive me nuts. And then you see kids who are totally oblivious to it. And here's me, who's just having an absolute conniption. But anyway, yes, I have that vice in life. And it's not a vice, it's just I can't stand it. All right. So there we go. We've got that off. Oh, right. How much silicone? I was thinking, where was I going with anything? Right. So I used a lot of silicone to make this piece. It's a solid piece. I'm hoping because of this particular brand of silicone and the pliancy of it that it'll be easy to get the skull out. So I am going to now step away, clean my hands up. I'm going to off camera flip this over. I'm going to get wrapped up so I can deal with it. And then we will, that's curious. Sorry, sidetracked. And then we will work on getting the skull out. I'll see you in a few minutes. Do you ever think to yourself when you take on a project, what was I thinking? I do think that a little bit with this project because of the amount of silicone it took, because of the amount of resin it will take potentially. I have an idea floating around in my head. Is it going to work? I don't know, and I'm definitely not trying it on this piece. I'm going to try it on a smaller scale with something else. If it works, then I'll show you my plan. If it doesn't, oh well, that'll just stay in the vault. Okay, I have wrapped this in saran wrap. As I mentioned, it was sticky icky. That's a term I've been using for a long time. But at least now I can touch it and lift it and move it, and we're good. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to turn it like this because I want to work down here. You can see part of it, and that's totally cool because it's the bottom. So we are good, you know. I'm going to say we're good. Let's see how this goes and getting it out. I want to save as much of, or take away as little amount of silicone as I have to. I'm trying to get my, and then hopefully we can pry it out. Again, I only used a little bit of the red, and it was to keep the piece in place while I poured the rest of the silicone in here. And I had a little bit of a thought, and it's again, how much of a make-work project do I want to do for myself? As far as the sides go, if I were to make up some of this red silicone and then place it on the sides, but that could take away too from the ability of the pliability of it. Like I said, this is a big piece, and I think unless you're really committed, think about whether or not you want to take on this project. Now, I'm going to have to be careful because as I'm going along, I really hope this is going to come out. It should. I'm just thinking of how this is going. Okay, let's just cut. Because of where the silicone's gone, I don't know if I've made a huge mistake on this or not. Because I'm thinking, we'll just have to see. That's the bottom of it, right? Alright, let's just cut around this. I'm going to have to use my X-Acto knife. I'm just wondering if this is going to be one of those pieces where you have to, you know, cut it out, not like you'd normally take it out, but differently. Right? Because I got to be able to get this out. I got to be able to get this out. So, thinking. I hope this hasn't gone totally wrong. Let's keep going. Oh, that's not going to work. All right, I'm going to have to just trust my gut instinct on this and feel around. I wonder, and I'll be back. There is a saying in the world that goes, go big or go home. And as I was trying to get this skull out of this mold, I had that thought to myself. I should have just gone home. Anyway, I have to admit that there are moments in my life when I am determined beyond determined. And if I were to take all of those experiences and trust in everything else I do, oh, Lord knows where I'd be right now. Well, he does, but I don't. Anyway, the skull, it's out. And just to let you know, so this was the front. I figured the best way of getting him out was to come up this way because the head was so big. So that's what I did. I used the front and I was able to sort of flip it forward. So it's out. I wish now I had thought about these holes. I didn't think about them at all. I was more focused in on the nose and the eyes and making sure there's no holes in them because I thought that would be an issue, or the ears, and not once did I think about his mouth. Not even close. So now that I have him out, and let me just put him down here at the side, I have to the next thing I have to decide is first whether or not I'm going to have to seriously just cover these, because I had to be really careful with the sides because they're sticky. Even though I've got the saran wrap on it, it was starting to move about while I was trying to get this out. Now what I have to decide. So we have these two sections here. I will sit with it because I'm not sure if I should leave them in or not. As much as the bottom of this is like this, which would look kind of cool if you could leave it there to have the indentation to make it more ghoulish, gothic, Halloweenish, call it whatever you want. I don't know if I want to do that or not. But again, will it be more cool if I do? And as I'm sort of sitting here and I'm again thinking about these holes in the side, if I take these pieces out, and let me just open it up for you because I can. And let me see if I can tip it for you. So this is what it looks like on the inside. Hopefully you can see that well enough. So right down by where his teeth are. Okay, let me move that. So you got these two little pieces here, one on each side, over here and over here. I could take these out carefully, and then we would just have a flat bottom, which in the end and at the end of the day would maybe make my life a little bit easier when it came to taking it out of the mold. This is pretty cool. This is massive. Again, I kind of got an idea for how I don't have to fill this all the way up with all resin, because this is going to be heavy. I mean, the mold itself weighs a pretty penny, but anyway, so I don't know whether to take these off or not. I don't know. So I guess you'll have to stay tuned when I actually pour this beast and we see what happens. Because again, like, do you want to keep it as similar? And this will fit back together. I'm just having a difficult time. And then if I left them in here, then I could pour my resin in through here, right? Like I've got the perfect hole, and I could, if this seals up, or I'll have to figure something out to do with this. If anyone knows, is there a spray silicone out there that I could spray the sides of this and get rid of my icky sticky? If there is, I seriously want to know about it. I might have to research that myself, because I might have an answer before you actually see this video. But we could pour the resin in through here. I have my deep pour resin, and then leave this the way it is. And again, putting elastic bands or something around here just to tighten it up, to keep the shape of it. So I don't know what I'm going to do right now with this. Yeah, I guess it all depends on whether I want the holes to show up. So let's just turn it. I don't know if this is going to make any difference to you or not, but let's open this up again. So I don't know, can you see it better? It's kind of a little challenging because it's got the green and red in it, but I do like it pliable. Definitely needed that. I had thought about putting some water and soap combination into it to see if I could get it out. I'll probably put some spray release in it when I do it with resin. But yeah, it looks pretty cool in there. And I guess too, the other thing is that we've got some of the on the side here, and I got air bubbles in there, but whatever. There's still some of the patterning that was on the skull itself. So I don't know, do I want to lose that? But it's the bottom, okay? So I keep thinking about that. Think about it's the bottom. Is it going to matter? It's not like you're going to have the head sitting like this somewhere. You're going to have it like this. And as long as the majority of it looks the way you want it to, then maybe it doesn't matter, and maybe I can take it out. And I mean, yeah, it would save on silicone if I left it in, for sure. And it would definitely give you, you know, this detail in the skull. And it's a matter of whether that's important to me. And I know that if I cut this out, I'm done. Like there's no putting it back. So I would almost like to try it once and see how it comes out, because I have, as I say, I've got, you know, this beautiful hole right here to pour my silicone into, or my resin into. Anyway, I've talked enough. That's it for this video. Again, so very important that you use plastic, just straight plastic. If you're going to do something, make a mold yourself, make sure it's plastic, make sure it's got nothing on it. I'm thinking it was the paint that messed up my sides, because everything else is fine. If you're going to do something this big, you're going to have to be committed to it. This took, like I said, a lot of product, a lot of time. You know, I've got stuff to figure out yet, and I haven't even poured resin in it. But for me, it was, I want a really cool piece, and that's why I've done it. So you have to decide, do you want a cool piece? Are you willing to, you know, put the expense into it, knowing the amount of resin if you do a big piece, or the amount of silicone knowing you've got a big piece, and the amount of resin obviously is important too, because, yeah, I mean, again, see how big he is? He's going to take a lot of resin. I know that. But again, as I say, go big or go home, and I apparently went big. But to me, it's been worth it so far. And I think I want to say thank God. I'm so appreciative of the fact that I actually got it out, that we're good except for the sides, and I can deal with that. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, if anyone knows if you can buy a spray, oh, I just had an idea. A spray silicone, let me know. And that's it for this video. There will be a video on the resin part of this, and I hopefully expect it not to be near as long. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for staying with me if you have until the end. Comment, like, subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.